I met a gypsy.
So yeah, glad you made it back from the dead to come do this podcast with us, mate.
Thanks, man. It was a bit of a mission, but we're here.
So should we just fully start from the crash? Like, should we just get all that out of the way first and then like go on from there?
Yeah, we can just dive straight into that if you like.
I reckon, because yeah. So when was it? That was
October 17.
October. I remember getting a call from Sam saying that you'd had a big one and it wasn't good. And then yeah, the next couple of weeks, everyone was pretty gnarly deal. So yeah, what went down? Tell the people what went down.
Well, firstly, I have to say a lot of it has sort of been getting relayed back to me because I don't remember anything from the day. Sort of only remember the day before a little bit, and then pretty much from when I woke up and onwards till now. But from the day, seemed to have started like any other normal day, I thought, in the lead up before it. I think we need to go back a little bit further if we can. Yeah. So the Nationals got cancelled after, I think it was 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And that was pretty disappointing. I didn't really have a chance to try fight back against Luke for the title or whatever, so that got handed over in that sense. But then I come home to Perth and I was just doing my thing a little bit, and then we decided that I was going to race the final state round there in Perth, and I really wanted to show everyone the work I'd been putting in over East, so I trained even harder again. And yeah, I'd never been so fit in my life coming back to that race. Felt really good on the bike and everything like that.
Sick track.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be an unreal day, but that wasn't the case. But yeah, so then we went down there. It was a normal weekend, as you would, just cruise down the day before and camp the night. Yeah, I just remember like eating spaghetti and stuff with my girl and my dad the night before. And then I woke up and nurse told me, "Oh, you just died. Like, this was 2 weeks ago." I was like, "Fuck, really?"
So you were in a coma for that long?
I was in a coma for 8 days, and then intensive care for like 2 weeks. So yeah, once I woke up from the coma, I was pretty rattled. I was on every sort of drug and machine you could possibly be put on. From what Dad said, I was on like 7 different machines all plugged into me, making my body even work. So that was pretty gnarly. But yeah, as for the crash, it was
just a first turn deal, right?
Second
turn,
yeah. So
you go left over that tabletop and then right.
Right, yeah. So as per usual, I didn't get a great start. I'm not that flash at it, but I think so. I have seen one video. It was a sort of blurry video of it, and that's the only reason I sort of know what happened. So I come out the second turn and someone's on the outside of me, and I come down the inside of them, and then they chopped straight across the front of my front wheel, and then that took the front wheel out from underneath me, and I fell onto my left side, but then onto my stomach.
Yeah. And
I was sort of laying across the track, and from there another rider come out of the turn and hit some whoops, because it's a rough sand track, Bunburry, and they sort of just preloaded and jumped and pretty much frame cased the side of my ribs.
Oh.
So yeah, from there, that's where all the drama started, and you know, it's no fault of anyone's, it's just a racing incident, and I got really unfortunate in that aspect. But yeah, I was sort of just bleeding out on the track, and no one really knew what the go was. From what I've been told, they were treating me for punctured lungs is what they thought it may be.
Yeah, right.
So I was sort of coughing up blood on the track and everything. And
were you conscious? Like, you didn't get knocked out?
Nah.
So you did get knocked out?
Well, I don't know. Like I said to you, I don't remember any of it. I don't know. It's I think I was like sort of half awake, but it was
with an injury that bad though. Your body was probably just like kind of shutting down.
It was shutting down. So apparently I was coughing up blood and stuff like that, and the ambos, I believe they had me on my back, and then Dad ran in and said, "Get him on his side," because I was choking on my blood.
Yeah.
So then they rolled me over, and apparently I just like spewed up a heap of blood, or whatever that is, spit up a heap of blood. And then the helicopter was trying to land, and they were going to try land on the start straight.
Yeah.
But there was people everywhere. Like, apparently everyone rushed the track.
Really?
Yeah. So they couldn't land the helicopter because there was just people everywhere. So as much as people were concerned and trying to help, it sort of fucked it up a little bit. Yeah. But in saying that, it helped in the end, because I then got rushed to Bunburry Hospital, and they sort of figured out it wasn't just lungs there was a bit more going on. So then they had to do some emergency stuff there, and unfortunately I don't really know all too much about it, but that sort of kept me going a little bit. As much as they were losing me, it helped me a touch. And then the helicopter come there,
right,
to Bunbury Hospital. So then from there is when I got transferred down to the city. So they told my dad and my girlfriend that I was going to Royal Perth, which is one of the big hospitals in Perth. So Dad drives all the way there, and he gets there.
And then they're going to take you somewhere else.
Yeah, and he gets to the front door, and he's like, "Say my name," whatever. And they're like, no, he's not here.
Fuck.
And then, so he didn't have his phone on him at this time also, or it was on silent or something. So luckily that he didn't, because he was getting calls that they had lost me on the helicopter. So...
And who was saying that? Like,
the doctor on board the helicopter had his number, because before I got put into the helicopter, they obviously transferred details and stuff, because it was going to be a touch and go flight, they thought.
Yeah.
So they would keep him updated, and they were trying to call him throughout that flight, saying that they'd lost me a couple of times. So on the helicopter...
So what was it? Do you know what like the injury was on the helicopter that was like essentially made you die?
Yeah, so I tore the aorta off my heart. So the main artery or valve to your heart, the big one on top, just pretty much tore that off.
Yeah.
So I was just bleeding out inside, and then had some broken ribs and collapsed lung. But then with the like the artery and stuff getting messed up, the aorta, that's led to me having like a traumatic cardiac arrest.
Yeah. And
then from that, had a traumatic stroke from the lack of oxygen to my brain and stuff like that. You know, it's hard for me as I don't know all the medical terms.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
But so I read in the report just before we spoke, they performed CPR twice on me, gave me 2 of the shocks to bring you back to life.
Defibrillators.
Yeah, and a few shots of adrenaline and stuff to keep me going. So it was pretty gnarly, but fortunately I didn't actually have to go through it, in a sense, because I don't remember it, which I'm pretty grateful for, because if I'd remembered all of that stuff, I think it would have been pretty gnarly. Yeah. But not to say that it isn't, but
it had added a whole different layer to it.
The whole mindset thing might be a bit different at the moment compared to, right now I'm sweet. I'm still love motocross and still want to do it. So but anyway, back to the hospital side of things. So then Dad went to the other hospital called Fiona Stanley, and he got there, and it was obviously like my family and friends were already there. And then I landed and I went straight into ICU to emergency surgery, and they put a stent and some artificial bits into my heart to try to keep me going, and luckily enough they were successful with it, and they were able to stabilize me to a point that I was going to survive. But like I said, I was then in the coma for 8 days after that, and then ICU for another couple of weeks. But dude, that was a heavy deal in the ICU. When I woke up, it's just the sound, like it's just like scarred in my brain. Just there's people dying down the hall from you. There's
really
and there's just the beeping, the constant beeping. Like you cannot get any rest in there. And especially at that point, like that's the point that you want to be resting. Like, sweet, I've survived now. I'm just maybe have snooze. That's not gonna happen. There's no chance. And there was some terrible nights in there, just the pain and everything, because they had to open up my whole sternum. So they broke my whole sternum open, because my heart and stuff.
Yeah, they had to do like full open heart.
Yeah. So, but they had to break the sternum and stuff open because it was all so swollen. So they went in from the side like you do normally. So one of the scars I've got, they told me this is where we first opened you up. And then it was like, oh shit, this is bad. And then the scar continues along another 3 or 4 inches where they've opened me up even further and just, gone nuts to get in there because, I shouldn't have survived.
That's so crazy, dude. The sound, like, so when you wake up, you pretty much like can't move, tubes and shit everywhere, so you couldn't really talk. So what was, I guess, like that feeling like, and how aware were you when you first woke up? Like, what was that whole kind of process like?
I felt like a zombie, honestly. I was in my brain, so not even my eyes, just in my brain. I knew what was going on around me, and I would want to reply to people, but I just could not control any of my body. Like,
really,
barely move my eyes.
And so could you, like, I guess, make an effort to, in a way, but it was like a crazy effort, like just to move your eyes sort of thing? Or?
Yeah. Oh, like, think about the most strenuous thing you can possibly do in your life. Like, try to pick up 200 kilos or something if you're not a bodybuilder. Yeah. That was like trying to move my eyes.
Wow.
And it was just so slow and just painful. Just everything hurt, everything. And it hurt mentally as much as it did physically, because I'm like, I want to tell these people I love them. Like, I want to tell them thank you and everything, but I just couldn't. I just had no power to do that. And it fucking sucked. But I just had to hang tight for a little bit and keep it going, but that's okay. It's everything about it was just something I'd obviously never experienced before. So it was so new to me, and it was just, winging it the whole way, where I was weighing up. Do I try, move? Do I just chill out? I just didn't know what to do.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.